Welcome back to Reseller Unscripted. I am your host, Dusty, and today we're diving into a topic that every reseller is going to face at some point in their journey. Do you stay lean and run solo, or do you scale up and build a team? We've got three incredible full-time resellers here to break it down. We've got Ari with Smart Threads, Chris with Daily Refinement, and my wife, Laura, with our Cozy Corner. So whether you're flying solo from your spare bedroom or you're managing employees in fulfillment centers, this episode is packed with real stories, hard lessons, and honest advice to help you figure out the best path for your business. So let's get it started. We're going to set the stage here and just kind of give you a little background of each person. We'll start with Laura. Was there a moment when you realized you had to scale, or did it happen gradually?
Yeah, so when I had first started, I was doing it on my own, and I think 2-3 months into it, I had to tell Dusty to stop his Whatnot channel on the sports card side to help me ship stuff. So once you get to the point where you can't ship your orders by yourself, you definitely should get help, because there's nothing more important than getting your orders out fast for your customers.
Very good. Ari, what does your current business setup look like? Are you mostly solo, or do you have help?
Great question, Dusty. You know, there's nothing that can be done without a team. I have a very amazing team that supports the entire Smart Threads operation. I did a transaction in July of 2024, which we'll get into in later episodes, but I have an amazing CEO because I myself know that would be a horrible CEO. So I appointed, a gentleman to really take the reins of this business and take it to the next level. So we have an amazing CEO, we have an amazing CFO, an amazing accountant. We have an amazing new hire who is going to be running all of the sellers and being able to build out all the shows and handle all training new staff. And then I have my Gabe. A lot of you guys know Gabe. Gabe's very close to my heart. Gabe handles everything from the operations side. And then we have an amazing team in the shipping room under a gentleman named Thelor. So I would say right now we're getting very close to that 30 employee mark. And I'm just very thankful because I personally just like to sell. And I talk to Chris about this all the time. And he's like, well, your worth is like you're a good seller and you can buy, and like that's like your value at the company. And I'm like, you know what, you're right. Like I don't like managing people, I don't like doing all the planning and all of that. I like to just go on camera and sell, and then I like to come into my cave and buy inventory. So I'm very, very blessed and very thankful to have a really good team. And honestly, like you don't need a team of 25 if you're just starting out. You just need yourself and maybe someone to help you ship, or just also just like, surround yourself with people that want to see you win. When I first started this, it was just me and someone else. But now looking at almost 2 years, like this thing is really blown up, you know? So I'm very thankful every day because like, not only that I get to share all my experiences with you, Chris, Laura, and Dusty, but I truly do have a very strong team behind me, and we're all looking for the same goal to win. So
That's really good. Everybody needs a Gabe, for sure. Very important. I also think, you really touched on it there. It's really, really important to know what you are good and not good at, especially as you scale. Knowing what pieces are really, really important to fit in and what you should be freed up to do as a manager, as an owner. So I think that's a really, really good point there, Ari, and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit later on. Chris, how has your business evolved in terms of team size and systems since you started?
I just looked back at this for this episode. I sold the first 28,000 items on Whatnot by myself. So in the beginning, I actually did my own shipping. So I streamed and shipped my own items. I sold only women's thrift. So the first 28,000 items I sold on Whatnot were used. So then I continued the same business, but with a shipper. And then when I transitioned to new with tags, the volume went up a lot. So instead of selling 100 to 200 items a day, we were, several hundred a day with just um, myself, shipper, and then I tried one more person who did the exact same thing as me after me. So we had my stream, one other person on my stream, and then I went from there to four total people. And at that time, I had four streamers, and everyone shipped their own show. And when I was doing that, I had basically zero defects. Everyone did their own show, shipped their own show, understood how that whole process worked. Of those four people, three are still with me, and that was 3 years ago. So those people have been awesome because now they're two of them are managers, and one of them is still one of my top streamers. So like, kept all those people from the very beginning. And I used to make videos on YouTube almost every single day, and my videographer um, kind of took a hiatus while I was working on Whatnot, and I stopped making videos. But now she's the shipping manager, so she knows how I think, and the whole shipping manager position changed my operation a lot because I was spending a lot of time on making sure shipments were correct. And I finally got Premiere Shop for the first time ever, so I'm super proud of myself. And that is mainly because we now pick the orders before shipping. And I wanted to always do that, but I didn't have enough manpower to connect the label with each order before starting. Because if all the labels are accounted for before you start, then it's pretty close to 100%. And when you're running a large volume, 1% defects is literally thousands and thousands. You can't have 1% defects. It's got to be way lower than that. So,
Can you explain that, Chris? So before you go to ship,
yeah.
you put a label on the items?
Yeah, so we
Like,
print all the labels, sort all the labels to similar, try to prepare the show as much as possible before it starts, and then we match every single label to every single order in a box before sealing anything. So every single order is ready to go before we start. It takes an hour longer, but that's okay. An hour longer is not that much longer to not have any defects on the back end, and um, all the questions go through the streamer before they start. If there's any confusion, the streamer's responsible for making sure they understand. And as you guys know, there's a lot of things that happen during a show. Probably, I would say 5 to 9 things per show that need an explanation. So, like, if you skip the explanation, two of those 9 things the shippers will not figure out, and it'll just be 7 problems you deal with later. But if now I'm letting everyone finish their shift, the last 15 minutes of their shift is explaining to the shipping team what's supposed to happen, and that's cleared up a lot of the defects. And now I think our defects are down like 90% from January, and I think we had 28 defects out of 25,000 orders last month. So it's almost zero because of this extra step. And that's a different level than I was at before, because before I was handling all of that. And um, when I ran out of time, that part would get handled at the very end, which is like not good, because like the main things that keep your business alive are like making sure you have stuff to sell and people to sell it. And sometimes if that takes the whole day, you don't have any other time to fix the odds and ends. So I just looked up a team after Ari said that. I currently have 12 people. So I have 12 full-time people, and I have 5 people who work if we have too much shipping. So like that's just other people who already have a full-time job. So I have 12 people full-time job working for me, and 5 people who have another job that want extra money and come in, because especially on Mondays, we used to be super behind on shipping. I convinced the post office to give us one extra pickup on Monday, and Saturday, if they feel like it, they come. But I don't have a permanent Saturday pickup. It's only if they have extra staff. But I do have 3 pickups on Monday, instead of 2 pickups the rest of the time. So the 5 people who come in on Monday extra, that relieves a lot of the pressure. So now I went from doing it all by myself to one shipper to 4 people streaming and shipping to like 20 people running multiple streams last year to this year, 12 people on one stream. I can't even hit Premiere Shop on my second stream because it hasn't hit 50,000 yet. That's how few. I don't even sell that. I can't even really optimize one channel yet. So the second channel has just sort of been an afterthought, but I hope that by the end of this month, I'll finally hit 50,000 on the second channel, and then try to get that going. But it's so different from last year when I had 5 channels. So very different.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm hearing a recurring theme already in this, and it seems like everybody kind of hit that point where it's like shipping became an issue. And that's when I decided, okay, now I really got to start to scale this thing up because I need some help. I can't run more shows if I can't get my things shipped out, and I need to do it well because that's what, it's kind of a lifeblood of the business. So that's good stuff. Laura, maybe this is a segue. What made you decide to bring others in?
Bring others in?
Yeah, like hire.
Like bring
You
in
already
new
asked me that.
employees.
I thought I already got asked that. When shipping was too much.
Bam. There
Yes.
it is.
Bam!
That's what we were looking for.
Boom.
Ari, can you describe how your operations are structured today?
Yeah, I think I touched a little bit on that. We do have like everything is so dialed into a process here. I'm not perfect. We're never going to be perfect. Nobody's ever going to be perfect, but like we have a true process in place that I feel like that I could replicate from items being sold to items going to the shipping room to sellers showing up on time. Like I'm dealing with not a lot of space here, right? I have like maybe 1,500 square feet in this office and we're running 2 streams. So it's as good as it's going to get right now. But we're at a point now in the last 3 months where shows are starting on time. Inventory is being barcoded properly before it gets to the office. Inventory is being brought up before the shows start. And like I said, shows are starting on time. Our shipping time is now down to 1 day, thank gosh. Um, and there's a process on my end from uploading or POs. So like we have a whole entire system in place because I'll upload a PO and my risk team will see it. We'll talk about it. Like there's so many different processes that are in place now where I feel like it's a real company. I'm not just like running out of this office anymore and just, slinging clothing. Like I truly feel like this is like a real scalable company that the word that I want to use today right now that is stable. Like for the very first time I feel stable. Before it was like, oh my gosh, like because I would talk to you guys about it, like I don't know what I'm doing today or I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I can't leave the office. Like I'm sitting here until 10 p.m., 12 p.m. at night. I'm like doing every little aspect. Like I'm finally allowing myself to let go of certain responsibilities because I'm a very hands-on owner. I like to do everything. And my biggest struggle has, and I don't want to use this word, like some people would say letting people fail, and I don't want to let anybody fail, but I need to let people mess up so I can teach them to be better. And like it's been so hard for me to like just like step away and not do certain things like building out shows, stepping in the shows to help people sell, like organizing inventory, like so many other things, like rolling racks around, coming to the shows, and like I need people to be autonomous, you know. So I'm still slowly letting go of things, but like as of today, July 3rd at 2:32 p.m. and I'm gearing up to leave for like a month, I would say that things right now, like knock on wood, are stable a little bit. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll hear that from everybody here. It's a process. Nobody steps into this thing on the first day with a massive team and has it all figured out. We all have a lot to figure out still, and I would echo what you said, Ari. I think Laura and I are finally at a point where there's some normalcy to our day where things are kind of starting, like people know what they're supposed to do and it flows well and we know what product's supposed to be and everybody does their job. But it's taken a long time to get there and a lot of bumps along the way, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I got one more question for you, Chris, before we jump to the next one. Do you remember your first hire and what was the hire for? You already kind of touched on this a little bit, but fill us in. How did that go?
My first hire was a Cedra. She's still with me now. I hired her only for shipping, and now she's a streamer. But I hired her only as shipping, and then she got what I call a real job. So she went to her real job, but then hated it, and now she's with me full time. But She I remember her shipping my shows as we were going, and that was when I was writing the number of the auction on the item, which I even think now still might be one of the best systems because there's like less stuff to keep track of when you can just write on the packaging what number it is. When you start getting larger, it's harder. But I loved that early system where auction number one matched the item, and I also tell you guys in the very beginning, the first 28,000 items, I wrote the title. I don't do that anymore, but I did. The first 28,000 items, I wrote the title. So
What
there
do
was
you mean
this
you wrote the title?
what brand,
For
size,
every single
category, what it
item.
was for every single item.
And you individually listed everything, or you didn't?
I
Or you?
listed every single item before I did it.
Wow.
So I feel like my comprehension of item specifics is so high because of that. So like you in the beginning, right? You see bigger sellers who, because of their following, they can skip a lot of steps. In the beginning, though, there's nobody watching you. You need like as much help as possible. So I think in the beginning, you can't do dollar starts, and but when you have a 400,000 followers, you can just say stuff and go, and it'll sell for market price. So it just depends on your level of trust with the customer. In the beginning, they don't know you, but if you've gone to the effort of taking a picture, Whatnot has this quality listing thing, which most people are just hacking. But if you actually do a quality listing like they recommend, you'll be you need that in the beginning to learn what a quality listing is. Like why do they have that? Listen to like why they do it. And I know they rank people higher that have real quality listings. If you can just put a picture and then put condition new and get past their thing for Premiere Shop, but like the algorithm knows that's not a quality listing. A quality listing means everything's filled out and the title has what it is, and the picture is actually of what it is. So if you want to stand out from the big guys usually don't invest in that. I've seen it. There are definitely sellers that do that. There are large sellers who do millions of dollars a year. Every single one is written out, and over time, that really does help the customer because they open the box. It's what the title said. Otherwise, you have a bunch of customers that really don't know what they bought, and it's okay short term. But if you're going for that like super super duper, know exactly what you bought, full confidence, solid business for your thing, you probably would list every single item and everything would have a barcode. If you're going like super long term, you're trying to do this for 100 years, that would be kind of the system you do it. But we are all flying by the seat of our pants, or at least I am. I do. I feel like I know less now than when I started because it's so much different. I know I kind of have an idea. I have an idea, but I wouldn't say I have it figured out. Just like our
Yeah, we're
schedule
flying
changes
by
so
this.
much week to
Yeah,
week.
we're
People
just
change. I don't know if I really know more than I know a lot. I know I don't know a lot now. That's where I'm at.
You can
Yeah,
also
I would
see
definitely.
on everything too. Now, if you want to list it in order
I
to
would
still be a
definitely say
quality.
that I feel dumb every day. Like I feel like there's
For
constantly
sure.
something
I'm
different
there.
or new or a better way to do it where I'm just like, God dang, I'm not doing that. I'm messing up on this. Somebody does this better, and it's just this constant. And that's the importance of doing what we're doing right now. Is just continuing to sharpen the next person. If we all just stayed on a flat line, there would never be that next level. And it's constantly just figuring out how to get to that next one. Um, when we started, Laura would run the items, and I would separate everybody by username and
Yep.
alphabetize username and totes all the way around the basement of our house. And then every time that somebody bought something, I would grab it from Laura and run it across our basement to get into that username's bin. And then every single time a new user bought, I had to make a new tote, write it down, run that over, get their item. And it was literally just sprinting for 6, 8 hours straight.
we were very fit at that time. Okay, it
Yes.
was up and down the stairs. Dusty was running around. He
I love it.
he broke a sweat every single show because I was doing 5 seconds sudden death. He was just
I was going to
freaking running.
say, especially when 5 second sudden death became a thing, it was holy. I don't know how we survived that, but it was fun. It's amazing to look back at those. Okay, we're going to jump into our next segment titled Benefits of Scaling versus Staying Solo. Laura, what do you enjoy most about running your business on a larger scale?
I think, and this is gonna sound cheesy, I think that it's honestly being surrounded by my employees because we as in Dusty and I, we work our butts off. We never have any social time. So our employees have turned into family and friends. And so just being a big team that are all on the same page, that we're here in it together and we either fail or succeed together. And in the past, we've had to kind of filter out some employees that weren't on the same page. But I think now we have an incredible team and we're all on the same page and ready to conquer the world.
Yeah, we'll touch on hiring a little bit later, but definitely one of the biggest hurdles is finding individuals that really get the theme of a small business and how hard it is to do and how many things go into it and how many hours a day you need to put into it. So finding individuals that don't just want to punch a clock, collect a paycheck, and get the heck out of there is really, really tough. Ari, what are the biggest wins you've experienced since expanding your team?
I think honestly, appointing a CEO was like the biggest win because I truly, like, I'm very good at sales. Like, I am very, very good at going on camera and selling something. I'm also good at finding inventory. What I'm not good at is running a business. You know, let me rephrase that. Like, I ran the business to a degree where, like, it was like, okay, we're trying to grow, but like, what do we do next? Like, my CEO is now taking us to be able so we can 3x the business and then 4x, 5x, 10x, 50x, you know? Because like as much as I want to say that I know how to do that, I don't. And I feel like that's like really special for me to realize that, you know? So like definitely like appointing my CEO was definitely one of the biggest wins so far in this business. And, you know, we've been in a relationship now for a year. So you know, there's been ups, there's been downs. Like, you know, I'm a type A personality that's like very like go 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 go. Like let's do it right now. And he's more like okay, let's be strategic, let's slow down, let's analyze it. And me, I'm just like let's just do it. So it's been a huge adjustment for me to like one like from where I would think like a year ago to where I am now. Like I feel like I'm thinking more like an executive versus in the past it was just like let's just shoot from the hip and hope for the best, you know. And in this business if you want to scale you have to be systematic, you have to look at data, and you have to slow down a little bit. You can't just like jump the gun and just do it immediately. Like you need to take a step back, you need to breathe, and you need to trust the process. So
Yeah.
that's kind of
Knowing
like
your
where
s-
I
knowing
go
your
ahead.
strengths is super important. I think we've touched on that a couple of times, but it's the same with Laura and I. Laura is very much the just let's just do it, let's see it how it goes, and I'm very much more the take a step back, analytical, and like we butt heads on a ton of things, but it
Mhm.
meshes really well because we really offset who each other are. And so we've really learned over time, okay, these are your things because these are what you're good at, and these are my things, this is what I'm good at. And there's less of the headbutting because we just understand each other, we understand the dynamic of that. Kind of like your CEO situation, obviously we're a married couple, so we're kind of stuck in this together. So
Yeah,
we've discovered a way to be better as a management team together. So yeah, that's good stuff, Ari.
I'm not
Chris,
gonna.
is
One
there?
other thing I wanted to add though, real quick, is that like recently, like my girlfriend is probably one of the best project managers of all time. Like she led so many job sites in New York City, like massive buildings. Like she also did like in LaGuardia, that crazy looking fountain. She led that entire project. So I honestly think the biggest win also recently was having my girlfriend come in here and she flipped this office upside down. So like having somebody that wants to see you win is so important, you know? So like I would add that to my biggest wins actually ever since like expanding. Like having Valerie come in and flipping this office upside down was one of the biggest wins of this year prior to me appointing a CEO. So I just had to give my girlfriend a shout out.
Love that. And another perspective always helps. I feel like every time we have a new hire or somebody else comes in, or even chatting with you guys, it's always nice to get a fresh look at something. We're struggling in the summer, and we were talking with Ari before the episode of some things that we just hadn't really looked at or thought about. It's always nice to get a fresh perspective or another look on something that you feel like you've turned over a million times. So good stuff. Chris, is there anything you miss about your early solo days?
I miss having complete control over everything, and I I really I now like what I'm doing more, which is trying to train people to be better at it than me, and that I enjoy more. But I really miss not having to wait for somebody and just being able to knock it out. And kudos to all the sellers out there right now doing millions of dollars by themselves, because this is one of the only platforms that you can do that. I've seen as high as $8 million solo, all shipping, all streaming, all buying, all organization, no employees, no shipping help. So I miss that kind of control in the beginning, and just being able to control every single detail, so the whole customer experience you can control. That is hard when you're not the mouthpiece and the person setting up the stream, and your operation can get completely unrecognizable pretty easily if you're not creating systems. So it's I miss that early time when it was all my setup and simple, and I remembered where everything was. Some of the shows you could do, like, misplace something, you just remember.
Yeah.
So that's like I missed that part about the beginning. But
That's
I wouldn't
good
go back.
stuff. Yeah. Laura, what is the biggest headache you have seen while scaling?
Buying the wrong inventory or not having enough inventory. And what to do if we buy a bad deal. Like, what are we going to do? Because our overhead is astronomical. And trust me, we've been there. We bought lots of bad deals this year. So yeah, I would say just product flow.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, we run 3 streams, 16 plus hours a day on each stream. So product flow is definitely interesting for sure, and can create a lot of headaches. Definitely. Ari, how do you delegate without losing the personal touch?
So I still always try to be like involved with all of the employees and asking them, is there anything they need? What can I help out with? I also am always checking up to make sure things are getting done. But I would still say that I'm delegating most of the work. But with this new hire now that's going to be delegating all of the sellers, I think the way that I keep my personal touch is that I just stay involved. I go into every show, I go into every studio. I'm always checking up on people, no matter what your job is, no matter what your position is, and just checking in and seeing how you're doing and if there's anything I can do to improve your experience. So,
Yeah, I think that's good. Personally, we've definitely seen we had a little bit of a phase while we were scaling where Laura just wasn't live. And we could definitely see a difference in attendance come down when she, who is the face of our channel, wasn't more involved. And as we've got her more involved, we've seen a lot of those buyers come back. They just know you and they trust you. So creating that consistency in your streamers is super important, and letting them know, hey, we're still here. We're still, doing everything behind the scenes. We're just not live as much as we used to be. We're going to move into the next one because we're about halfway through here. Chris, do you feel more or less pressure now that you've scaled?
Definitely more pressure, because everyone that works for me pays their rent and their bills, based on my decisions. So I really, really, really respect like Microsoft and Bill Gates and him keeping 1 year of salary in his bank account and purposely growing slow to make sure that all the people working for you have a job. So I'm doing, that's my main goal, is to make sure I have a year of salary in case we don't sell a single thing, nobody loses their job. That's like important to me because I like that part of creating jobs with my but I don't want to create a job that's short term. I mean, literally, like people can build a really solid future if they have a consistent job. And me making a company that only lasts 5 years or 10 years, that you could mess up somebody's career track with that if they're like hoping that your company does well and you're gone. And like most businesses are gone within 5 to 10 years. So that's the pressure that I want. I want it to work without me. So I'm really focused on making sure I'm not the streamer, I'm not the shipper, I'm not the buyer. Because if the business doesn't work because you're not buying great goods, then when you're gone, there's no great goods moving in. And if you're doesn't work because you're not streaming, the healthiest channels that I see on Whatnot, the owner is never on it, because a healthy channel is not about the owner streaming; it's about all the other parts working when the owner's not there. So, um, yeah, there's just such a um, trying to be consistent and provide that workplace where people can work a long time. That's like a lot of pressure because I just think about,
I got a
you're making
question.
decisions based on, can anyone stream this? Can anyone ship this? Right? And I think that's the most pressure because there's always things that work for one person, and I have to say no to all of that. That's like the hardest part. That would work if this person sold it, but then something, just got to make sure that anyone can sell it. Then that means that the product is right, in my opinion. If anyone can sell it, the product is right.
I got a question.
Yeah.
It just came to mind. So, do you guys ever like struggle with streamer burnout?
I don't think so because most of my streamers are involved with all the other processes. So if I had a person only streaming, I think they would burn out. I'm not sure you could come to work every day and do two shift. Some streams do 2 3 hour shifts, 2 4 hour shifts with a 30-minute break, or 1 6 hour shift. I've seen tons of those models. I think it's really weird to have somebody else set up your set. You walk in, do it, and then leave. I don't see very much longevity with that unless like the streams are really short. But then the 3 or 4 hours, like what Ari's doing in the morning, if he were to do that morning and afternoon, I think even Ari would burn out after 2 3 months of that. Not even that long. I think 90 days of just two large streams a day, you would be destroyed. So I almost think like that's hard. The streamer burnout I don't have, and a lot of my streamers only work the one shift and go home. I learned that from another streamer that I met, that she was doing one stream in the morning and then one stream in the evening. And I was like, at first I thought, why would you want to come back to work? I just want to do my work and go home. But then she didn't burn out. So I'm like, that maybe that's necessary to reset your brain, because the stream one show, break, stream another show. When I do that, the streamer in the second shift, they're like tired. They're tired. They're not as energetic. They're even in the same day they burn out. So I worry a little bit about that. So most of our streamers are doing like a 6 hour shift. Come in, set up, warm up, learn all the inventory, do the shift, then at the end talk to the shippers, make sure it's all done, and then some of my streamers come back twice. It's like I don't know. The streamer burnout is something really interesting. I'm really sensitive to that because um, now my philosophy is a little bit different. I am trying to buy product that anybody can sell for a normal profit, and the pressure of trying to meet that 3x or whatever rule you put on your streamers, that's so much pressure, and they are going to be able to. It's going to be hard if they miss 2 or 3 sales quotas in a row. They're going to be worried about their job security. They're going to be like saying stuff on stream that doesn't make sense. They're going to be in a rush. And so, like, ideally, right now I'm trying to decide, should I have like a baseline that I'm looking for as far as pace and then average sale price. I was wondering if I like lower the average, like the minimum a little bit lower to give them more confidence, and then give them one more tier they can hit to excel. Because like in a lot of sales organizations, they have low targets, so their salespeople hit it and then they get excited. Instead of sales targets no one ever hits, that's like very depressing. So I'm working on that, but I do not have a single streamer working for me that can do two shifts back to back and not lose enthusiasm. Not one person. So after this long in doing it, like the personality type, I can come in, do a show, lunch, do another show. I mean, that's like a rare person.
I know. I wish I could clone me.
But I think
Same.
Ari, you would burn out if you did two shows
I
a
know
day.
I would burn out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's you. That's you. And you're an owner streamer, and the owner streamer is knows the full capacity of the inventory. And a person just walking in, they don't know what they paid for it. They don't know what the target is. They don't know how to bundle it. They don't know any of those things.
Do you guys tell your streamers how much you pay for the inventory?
Oh yeah,
The-
I have a whole entire sheet that tells them everything, what we paid
Yeah.
for, what the selling. Literally, the way we build out our schedule is on an actual like platform, and it literally breaks it down to a granular level. This is the brand that you are selling. This is the minimum amount of items that we want you to sell. This is the selling strategy. This is the starting price. If the price doesn't hit this, okay, this is what you can drop to. Here's if you want to start bundling some things. Like we give a roadmap for, I mean, everything.
Okay.
I just changed that, Ari. I now say, what do you think this will sell for? I don't tell
Huh.
them the price at all now. And
Really?
based on what they tell me is what they can sell. Because I don't really think you can sell things for more than what you think they're worth.
I truly think you can sell something. Like if, for example, you know, if I have something that retails at X and I buy it for Y,
Right?
I know what I paid. I know what margin I need to be at, and I'm going to go into a show and I'm going to start it at that price. And the whole reason why people fail at selling things at a starting bid is because they're not confident. They go on camera and don't seem confident in what they're selling. Therefore, the chat is automatically going to be like, oh, well, we're not going to pay that. And then you start selling stuff at $1 and it devalues your whole entire lot, and then you end up upside down. Margin is everybody's business is different, but margin is one of the most sensitive aspects of this whole business. If you start selling something for $25 for your whole show, and then your last five items dip down to like 19, it's gonna actually throw off your entire margin of the entire show. It is that sensitive. Like we're talking like a thermostat, like just like turning up a little bit and turning it down makes such massive differences. And like I can show you this, Chris, too, if you want. Like I can show you the whole entire calculator. Like literally, if you adjust the margin even this much and you propose that across your entire buy, like it could be the difference of it, depending on what your overhead is and your fixed cost and whatever you invested in that, it could literally turn your whole deal upside down.
I agree. I just think that what if the seller, we were selling pillow pets, it's a plush, and I
Hmm.
asked my streamer what she thought it was worth, and she's like, I think it's worth $10. And I said, okay, cool, you can't stream this. Right? And I
Really?
asked all my staff, and one person said, I think I can sell for around 17. I said, cool. At 17, that's the baseline for this. At 20, I'll give you a bonus. She averaged 21. But the girl that thinks it's worth 10, how's she gonna do that? You have to genuinely believe that your product is worth a certain amount, otherwise it doesn't work. So like what I had a problem was when I gave people the minimum, they would never sell for more than that. So like I need like that's why I'm experimenting with this push goal, right? Like who's confident they can get this push goal? I need 10 from this, but the push goal is 12. Who can do 12? And now the attitude has
That's
changed.
a
People are like
really good
almost
idea,
challenging
Chris.
themselves.
But you're just like not starting. Like I know what I'm going to start my stuff at now. Like I look at it.
It depends. It depends. There's certain inventory that you need to instill the confidence in your customer. You need the high start. You believe it's a high start, you do it, right? Other items, you believe the audience will match your level of enthusiasm. Like as an example, Labubu, right? I see
Mhm.
people selling Labubu for $20 and they paid 40. Other people are selling a $40 Labubu that they paid 40 for 90. Same product, right? And one person, they don't believe it. They're like, I'm not sure you guys should be paying that much for it. Maybe it's hyped. I'm sorry, every other channel has this. Okay, bid if you want to. And that your audience can sniff your fear, and it'll just only going to be. And for that streamer, you might have to do a $60 start. Then the pressure melts away. You just say, present as many as you can in 1 hour, and whatever sells, sells. Then, if you're going to do the high dollar start, I just do presentations per hour. Doesn't matter if it sells. You can present 50 in an hour, your job is done. Let the product do it. Don't like it, move on. Don't lose your enthusiasm if 12 of them don't sell in a row, because the next 12 might sell. Just keep going. It's different though, because I understand the velocity difference, because yes, you get that $50, but how many units are you moving? So like, there's a difference between, like, I've been talking this with so many people right now. TJ Maxx and Ross have unlimited money, right? Unlimited money to buy. How come their average sale price is $12 or $13? It's because that's what people have. You can't do $50 starts at Ross and TJ Maxx and Marshalls. They would go out of business. There's not enough people that can pay that. So like, building your business around high starts is 2-3 year sell-through rate. Everybody I talk to takes 2 or 3 years to sell through your stuff if you hold it. But Ari, I see you get weak and you turn it to a dollar start. You don't hold the $50 start or $70 start the whole time. Some people do that, but you don't do that.
No.
So like, that's like that model of the high start whole time. There's so many streams
How
who do
can
that.
you do that with a massive overhead every month? You have to
No.
sell, you have, you know,
I know how. You
how?
own the building and
Yeah.
low cost area, very, very, very low overhead is the only way to do it. You can't have the high start and high overhead.
No, you
The,
can't.
the model is own your own building, do it at home, high start. It works, right? You make so much profit from the high start that you don't need to sell very many to cover your bills. Like, imagine if Costco doubled their prices. They would literally go out of business. Nobody would shop there, right? They'd
So
have
you're
like,
saying all my inventory at $1?
no, I'm saying it. You generally, you either maintain the high start the whole time and you have a 2 year sell-through rate, or you do the low start and move all of your inventory within 30 days. You can do both. You can have the high
Right.
start in the beginning and then after go to the dollar, right? I'm just saying that why does TJ Maxx and Marshalls literally unlimited money? Every brand wants to work with them because they can buy all of it. How come they don't have a $50 ASP? Because there's not enough customers to do that, right?
It's the average buyer, not the
It's the
high-end
average
buyer.
buyer. So like, that's the part that we're buying large lots for. Like, you can't buy a large lot for a niche group of people. That doesn't make sense. So like, everyday people being able to buy Gucci. For everyday people to buy Gucci, they would need a $20 shopping tote. There's just not enough people that can pay $400 for Gucci slides. And even if you discount to 130, you're like, guys, you have no idea how hard it is to find sheep that are this beautiful that we can make this from. And the cost is $120. 130 is a steal. They're like, I don't have $130 to buy these slides. They're awesome and I want them, but I need to pay rent. So like, it's like just this delicate balance between everyday value. Everyday value is a $10 start, right? That's like, you could do that. And I think that the mass thing on Whatnot, and I think will really help everyone, is the target liquidation. If everyone starts selling target liquidation and people can go on the Whatnot and buy something for $5 or $10 that they had to buy a target for 20, the app will explode, because that's everybody. I want everybody shopping on Whatnot, right? So if every single Target, Walmart good goes on the Whatnot, and people are now buying that instead of driving to the store, then now we're talking. We just 100x the user base on the platform, but that 100x of people, they're not buying $50 starts. So it's just an interesting thing to look at, and I just like everything that I look at for longevity. People are in the 20 to $50 range. 50 if you are more related to gambling, $20 if you're more related to everyday goods. but I feel like the backbone of the entire app is the card category, and their ASP is $50, and it's because of the entertainment value and the value of the item. I just saw the average card breaker is only marking their item up 40%, which means you buy it for 100 and you do a 140 start. Can you imagine Ari buying something for $10 in clothing and doing a $14 start? And that's like all of the margin, right? It's hard in our category because the ASP is so low, right? So hard. You trying to you trying to buy something for 10, have a $30 start. That's just like, but if you're trying to do volume like the card people, you can't do that. People don't pay 3 times the value of it.
Yeah,
They're
but
going
if
to pay
I'm
a little bit over the value
yeah, but remember what me and you talked about, like doing like $1 million a month. It's $54,000 a day. It's 18 shows at $3,000.
of of everyday value is what the people who are scaling are usually everyday value. The thing is,
Yeah,
it's a little confusing because the everyday value for a card break is a $60 start for something you paid 48 for. It's disorienting because it's so close to what you paid for it. But that is the everyday value of that category, right? The people who are staying in this game forever. It's not social media. It's great value for the customer. And like if you hurt your customer, they're not coming back. If they find out they just paid $30 and you paid 8 for it, most people are going to feel butthurt about that. It's too much profit. But if you paid 8 and they paid 10, they're like, "Come on, Ari, let me give you a $2 tip." "I'm sorry, Laura. You guys need some gas money. Let me tip you $5. That was too good of a deal."
I
It's different.
wish.
It's funny
it's
because
different. It's different.
that's essentially what our business model is. Most of
Yeah.
our buys, I would say, we're buying between $3 and $8 a unit, depending on what it is. Some of them are different, and then we are selling those for $6 to $12. But we do it all day, every day, across 3 streams. We make a very small margin on most of the things we sell, but we do a lot of it. So
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of different ways to look at that.
But we're also struggling right now, so maybe we should not be doing that.
But we have built the channel on the everyday buyer. For the most
Yeah.
part, we cannot bring in luxury goods
No.
or things like that. We try them, we bring them in, and it generally just does not go well for us. Most of our buyers want to buy in that $10 to $20 range, just like Chris is talking about. So we have to buy items at $3 to $5 to be able to make anything on it, and then hope that buyer wants to pay $10 to $20 for that item.
And that's another
Okay.
thing that Dusty and Laura are doing before we move on is that they have all day streams or longer streams. The high dollar start streams, almost all of them are 1 3 hour show a day. 99% of those shows are 1 3 hour show a day owner. It's not. I've never seen a 24-hour $50 start show. It's so uncommon. It just
Yeah,
doesn't.
definitely.
It's not a thing.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
more. I
two
think that's
different
more.
business models.
Yeah.
Whatnot's blowing up. There's a lot of new money coming into
Yeah.
Whatnot. You told me yesterday, Chris. I literally forgot exactly what you said to me, but you were saying it was like so shocking how there's so many people
It
on
is.
Whatnot now.
There's so many people. It's amazing. Like I just
You literally said, what was it? You said,
it's amazing. There's so many people.
look at how many streams people spend $50 to $2,000 an item over and over again.
I know.
A
It's
fantastic
amazing.
buyer base. It's larger than TikTok.
Yeah, it's larger than TikTok. I am shocked. Whatnot is larger
That's
than TikTok.
crazy.
TikTok now.
That's crazy.
Who said
It's
that?
crazy. Think about how many people use TikTok. Everyone. There's not a single person hasn't heard of it
How do you know that Whatnot is bigger than TikTok Shop?
because it was on that report I sent you guys. Or maybe hopefully
Yeah,
you guys
it
did.
was. That was on that report.
It was on the report. They are
Oh, I just skimmed
Amazon.
it.
Amazon sometimes only has 1,000 people on their site in the live streaming category. Can you believe that? Amazon has like 1 billion users, and only a
That's
thousand
crazy.
people in the live streaming section. That's crazy. That some of us, all of us in this room, have had 1,000 people before one time. That's like the whole site of Amazon. That's like how low live streaming is without entertainment.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That article is wild because it says whatnot, where entertainment, where commerce happens. And I was like, is that code for gambling? Because like, don't you want to be like a marketplace first, right? Like, this people come here to buy stuff, but they're like, no, people come here to be entertained, and then they buy something. So
I mean,
that's the
Yeah.
future. Like,
It's not
listen,
wrong, and the amazing part is their market share is still minute
it's
compared to what it
tiny.
could be.
It's
Yeah.
tiny. Yeah.
they're probably being
Sorry, you got
strategic.
something?
Yeah, yeah. No,
Okay, fam. We got 10 minutes left. I think we're gonna have to do a two-part on this because I have only made it through 2.5 of our 5 sections here. So I think I'm going to swap us to our questions from our followers and our rapid fire. Laura and I got to run off to do a palette show here, and we will do a part 2 next week because this has been really good. I feel like we're just kind of scratching the surface of this scaling thing. We didn't really get to the big like drawbacks of it and some of the tools that we use. So let's jump to some questions from followers and look for a part 2 next week. Okay,
I
so
think
this
in part
question
two,
came.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say in
You're
the
good.
part two, maybe we can focus more on the very beginning part of like the part-time, full-time part, because this is like a little bit more of an advanced section. So those of you who are listening right
Yep.
now don't have any employees yet. Definitely stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah. Yep. We'll build in more on the part time because there's a lot of bliss in that in my mind. There are a lot of things that I wish we could go back to, or Laura and I will lay in bed at night and we're like, yeah, dang, just remember when we were like in the one bedroom and it was just like so easy, and now we've got all of this and it's like, so there's a lot of pluses and minuses, and we want you guys to know those things. So here's some questions from our followers. And again, if you guys are our first time here, we read every single message. We want to grow together. We want to hear from you. Any questions that you got, leave a comment, send us a message, and we will dive into it. So this one's from Kels21. And Kels said, would love to hear y'all's take on pricing in reference to gains and losses. Every business takes a loss. I find successful long-term businesses operate on gains and losses. You can't avoid and you can't always win. I see many sellers on Whatnot trying to deter or drive a sale away from a loss. Some will pause, scold the chat, end the show altogether if things aren't selling for what they believe they should. How do you create value when sometimes it isn't there?
yeah, I can take
And
that.
anybody can jump in. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind taking that. Like, if something's not going well for me, I just shift. You know, maybe I like will pause and try and explain the item, give some history behind it. Like, you can't just expect things to sell. You just in this business, I'm sorry, like you cannot expect things to sell unless you're selling gold bars that are 24 karat gold or silver or a Michael Jordan rookie card. Like with us in the clothing category, unless you are truly selling something that everybody knows, which there's your Free Peoples, you have your Anthropologies, you have your Nikes, your Adidas. Not everybody has access to that inventory. A lot of us have access to inventory that are maybe not as well known brands. And you bought it at, let's say, $5 a unit, and you're wondering why it's not getting bid up. There's a lot of things that go into that. It's one, it's how you're presenting the item. Two, did you educate your chat? And three, you know, it, it, it really just comes down to your attitude and your confidence. It's like when I was working at Nordstrom, I would go up to anybody and say, "Hey, how can I help you? Do you need help with something?" Whether it was a no or a yes. So like, just you need to. The one thing that I'll just wrap this up saying, you cannot expect things to sell.
That's good. And I would say that you're spot on. Everyone does take losses. Laura and I take losses all the time. In our business, the theory is over time we're going to take losses, but the goal is to win in the long run. So
Yes.
we might start an item out, especially like Ari said, if it's a brand that people just don't know or recognize, a lot of times we'll get that brand in and we know the first show is going to be a loss. Nobody knows what it is. We're running a brand called Wear It to Heart right now. And we get it in and we sell that first batch and it's awful. The bids aren't good. We know we took a loss. Then we'll wait a week. Everybody will get those items. They will see how great they are and they'll come back and they'll want more. Then our bid prices start to increase from there. So for us, it's understanding that, yes, we may not win all the time throughout it, but in the long run, the hope is we come away with a win on it. Okay. Next question is from Sam, who has been a great supporter, commented on all of our videos, and we're super grateful for that. Sam said, "Do you prefer to pay your streamers based on commission or an hourly rate?" I'm intrigued here.
I pay all of our sellers hourly plus commission, and it works. It gives you something to fight for. You know, it's not
Last,
just like here's your hourly, you get your hourly.
yeah.
Well, now you add in commission, and then that's really where things get crazy.
So last year we did hourly and a percentage for commission, and depending on we started between 5% and 25%, and we were just giving away um our profits. So this year we changed that. Now we called all of our employees all of our streamers who were getting commission. We called them into our office and we said, "Hey, so here's the deal. We cannot do the commission structure anymore. What would you be comfortable with an hourly pay?" And so everyone said whatever their hourly pay were, and we we had someone say an obnoxious amount, and we were like, "I'm so sorry, we cannot do that." And then we just at that time split our ways, split our what's it called?
Parted ways. Yeah.
Parted
So
ways.
we just structured our commission in the wrong way. I mean, we essentially just took way too much commission and put it onto the hourly. So we were already giving a great hourly rate, and then in our head it was like, well, as long as we're making money, it's fine to give away 25% of our profits. But then we didn't factor in how much our overhead was and how much our business needed liquid capital to be able to make larger purchases to be able to succeed, and how much we were going to take on by scaling more positions that needed to get paid in shipping and social media and an admin team, buying a new forklift, and all these different things that are part of scaling. And we didn't factor those in because at that time we were so small. We're like, oh yeah, come one, come all. Everybody's going to get paid a ton. We're just going to share all the profits with everyone. And so the structure just was not good for us. So yeah, like Laura said, we had to restructure it. So now we're doing an hourly rate for everybody that they got to name essentially. And then on top of that, we're doing a profit sharing. So everybody still gets a portion of the profits. It just looks different, and it's throughout the year. So us as a business, we can get a better picture of what our entire year looks like instead of paying out the nose in the fourth quarter when things are good, and then continuing to still pay the same rate throughout the year when things are not good. And that was just not a good structure for us. Chris, what are your thoughts?
I pay hourly for all my streamers except for one. There is no bonus. I just found that when I did the commission structures, people would only pick good inventory to sell. So now there's no commission. Now I was talking about earlier that I want to try to add in a performance bonus per show in case they exceed the expectations. They can pay them a little bit on the back end. But I do have one streamer that is 100% commission. She's definitely the highest paid, and she sets up her own shows, does her own curation, and I think everyone here would agree that curated shows make the most money because the audience knows exactly what they're getting. The person knows the most about the product. It's set up a way that does the most. So the lady that is setting up her own shows making mid six figures because she's killing it because she's selling stuff for quadruple the other streamers. But I'd say if you factor in the time that she comes in before work to set up the show, curate, bounce ideas off of me, staying up at night thinking about different things, I don't know what she's making. She might be making the same as the other people. She's just putting in 3, 4 more times of work into the same product. So like hard to say if she's making more hourly, but on a weekly basis, she's getting paid way more. But I think it may just be related to total effort. Her total effort is so much higher. So, but the 100% commission has been interesting. I think that's very, very hard to convince people to do that. So she was already my best streamer. So she wanted to try on her own. She's definitely making the most out of anyone, most experience. But also, she doesn't have
A
any
hundred
desire
percent
to do it on her own, which is something interesting that we're seeing for some different streams potentially. I think the likelihood of you leaving a stream and thinking, oh, this is easy, I'm going to do it myself, that's probably not what people are thinking. They probably think there's a bigger payoff if I do it myself. I don't think anyone who actually knows this thinks it's easier to do it on your own. That would be like that'd be the wrong conclusion after working at our Cozy Corner and be like, oh yeah, on my own it's going to be way easier. I don't think that they would get that impression. They
And
might
people
think,
don't understand what it's going to be like to start on their own too.
I think they do. I think if you work at one of our companies for a year, I think you have a good idea.
You're not, but no. I mean, listen. Like, yes, you're going to build up your audience. Yes, you're going to have a following to start. But they truly do not know what it takes to sell
No.
200 items and then
So
ship your 200 items.
I
They
just think
also
that
don't know
they
how to
do
get the
know they do
inventory.
know more than most people who haven't worked for us for a year.
I understand, but it's like, it's very interesting. Like, my whole, bit of advice would be like, if you're a large, account on any platform, is that if your streamer wants to leave and do selling, you should be the one supplying them inventory at the end of the day and helping them grow. Like, you still want to have that like within there. That's the way I look at it. Like, if any of my streamers wanted to go and start their own channel, I would give them all the inventory and say, here you go, have fun. Because finding the inventory is like the hardest part of this.
Interesting takes. So Sam, there's a combination of different payout structures. We went away from the commission for several reasons, but Chris kind of touched on that too: cherry picking pallets, getting frustrated if they didn't get the best inventory, and those types of things. But it's also working for Ari. So it really comes down to your business structure and what is best for you. But thank you guys for the questions. Please keep those coming. Same with the rapid fire. We're going to close out with the rapid fire questions. I've got some here, and then we'll close out the episode. You guys ready? Here we go.
Ready.
Laura, if you had to choose scaling or solo forever, which one would you pick?
Scaling.
Okay. Ari, if you were not a reseller, what would you love to do?
EMT.
Ooh, all right. I love that. Chris, first thing you'd outsource?
Shipping.
I'm pretty sure we're all there.
The only
All right.
issue is that shipping is one of my favorite parts. I know most people don't like shipping, but I personally like shipping. The only reason I outsource it is it's a lower value task than streaming. But I do like shipping.
It's very soothing or like
Yes.
relaxing to me.
Yeah, there's a
And when you
zen for sure.
When you complete it and there's no more labels left and there's nothing left on the rack, it's very satisfying.
It's a tangible accomplishment for sure.
Yes,
It makes you feel
very
like you're
much.
actually getting something done,
Yeah,
which is great.
100%.
All right, Ari, one task you refuse to give up.
One task I refuse to give up. Selling? No, but that's not a task. I don't know. I like to clean.
Right.
I vacuum the floors. I vacuum all of the floors. All of our carpets, I'll get on the floor with the shop vac and I'll vacuum it all up. Still to this day. I'll
give
take
the
out.
nubs though?
Would I give it up?
Yeah. The
No.
vacuum. You
No.
wouldn't?
I would never give up vacuuming. I like cleaning.
All
Don't
right. vacuuming
you
forever.
dare take the vacuum from Ari, okay?
Do not take the vacuum from me. And it's like a shop vac. It's not like a nice little push Dyson. It's like a full blown like.
I'm just imagining
Yeah.
Ari's on all four.
I'm on all fours, on my knees, literally vacuuming
I love it.
and scraping. I have a carpet scraper.
What the heck? Laura, more freedom with the team or more chaos?
Who would want chaos? More freedom.
All right, Chris. Let me see here. Where are we at? The worst part of managing people.
Worst part of managing people, firing them. It's the
Very
worst.
true.
He's the absolute.
Laura, office setup or home setup?
Office setup.
Yeah. Ari, spreadsheets or sticky notes?
Personally, for me, I like sticky notes, but the executive in me is like,
They
we
get
need a
lost.
spreadsheet.
I knew it.
Look,
scale fast or scale smart?
Scale slow.
there we go, baby. Scale slow. Slow and steady
Love
wins the
that.
race.
Laura, what's scarier, hiring or burnout?
Burnout.
Okay. Ari, one system or tool that's changed everything.
Zoho.
Tell us, what's Soho?
You don't know what Zoho is?
And they're not a sponsor
No.
of the podcast yet, so they
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
that's
talk.
true.
We're not
Can't
going to
shout
talk
them
about
out.
it.
Plug them. Plug them.
No, I'm not going to plug them.
Shoho, bring it.
Yep.
It's inventory management, barcoding.
Oh,
Ah, okay. Chris, dream team size.
Dream team size 20.
Okay. Laura, worst mistake you've made scaling.
eh, buying wrong inventory.
Okay. Ari, best perk of running solo.
Best perk of running solo?
Yep.
Total control.
Yeah. Good call. Chris, one word to describe scaling.
Excruciating.
Pain.
Crying.
Of course, Laura would get this question. Laura, would you hire a family member?
All of my staff is family members. We're family
That's a
owned
topic for another
business.
conversation. That's a topic for another day.
It is. We could do a whole episode
It's
on
hard
that.
some days.
Yeah.
Ari, how many hours do you really work a week?
I think like 90.
Love that.
I literally, like,
You work a lot, dude. You do a good job.
Yeah.
I'm always here. Or I'm still working at home.
And if you're not there, you're still working. That's just
I'm always working. I'm 3 a.m. in the morning answering DM. Like, people don't understand we do have a full-time customer service person, but I still will go in and respond just because, like, you know what? That's something I won't give up. I think the customers are the most important aspect of this whole business. So, like, I still will put my touch on that.
So 90 hours a week, but the best part is you're not doing it for somebody else. We love that. Chris, if your business doubled overnight, what's the first thing you'd change?
If there was twice as many customers,
If your sales doubled overnight,
Bahamas we come.
I think I would panic actually if my sales
Yeah.
doubled overnight because that seems like a lot of double of all of the things that I'm currently doing. That sounds stressful.
Laura, what's more important? Go ahead.
I was gonna say if my expenses shrunk in half overnight, then I would take myself out to lunch.
Bahamas
but-
for sure.
If my sales doubled, I'd probably panic and drive to work.
Laura, what's more important, growth or peace?
Peace.
Ari, how do you decompress after a chaotic workday?
Playing with Kong and just sitting on the couch and talking with my girlfriend. Because she honestly, Valerie, like, I would not be in this position where I am right now without you. Like, you have helped shape me into being a better executive than I could have ever been.
Oh,
So, like,
I love
thank you.
birds.
I'm just saying,
It's so
Valerie
cute.
is so special. I'm just gonna be straight up. It is what it is. Like, she really
She
is.
is
Like,
very special.
She could literally be running this whole company if I got hit by a bus tomorrow.
I was gonna say
Wow.
barf, but I actually appreciate that. I appreciate that she's an important part of it.
Yes. Yes.
She really is.
All right. Last question. Chris, would you scale back if it meant less stress?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Why haven't you done it then?
I have.
He did.
Way-
Oh,
way-
from
way
the
less.
5, yeah.
I spoke to Chris last year. I remember this vividly. I forgot where I was, but I was in a car in Miami driving somewhere. And I spoke to Chris from the second I landed in Miami all the way until I got to the hotel. And he was talking to me about scaling back at the time. And it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like can you get more of what you want in the same time? not get more of what you want with more time. That's like just like the part that I struggle with the most, and this is that I know that putting more time into it makes the business better. It like directly subtracts from your regular life. That's the hard part because it's like I can see what happens when you put everything into it on both sides. I can see the positive part, your business and money goes, bank account goes up, and I can see literally everything else is going down. It's very hard to like. I just want to throw this piece of advice in there. You can't let ships sink. So like you can't like your business is on fire, but your relationship is sinking. You can though have your relationship maintained while you're growing, right? But it's so hard to fix things that are declining. So like
Yeah.
I just think like I'm older than you guys, so like don't let things decline. Don't let your business decline and go on a vacation for a month too. That doesn't really hard to fix that too. So like just make sure everything's at least staying the same or slowly going up because like it's very very hard to fix a business that's failing. Everyone knows your staff, your customers, you, right? And if you're and it's easier to fix that though than your relationship declining. That's why it's cheaper to buy your wife flowers than to have a divorce. So try to like take care of your partner because if that part is literally impossible to fix. So try to like um, not let ships dip. That's the best advice I can give for literally doing both.
Dusty and I are on the same ship.
And if you're on the same ship, then it's almost like you guys are in the boat where you're also friends with your staff, which means that your boat is really big, and it's hard when your boat's really big. Versus like if you're on a little like if you're on a jet ski, it's just you're just loving it. There's no responsibility. Like you just go anywhere you want. If you're driving a cruise ship, like you turn really slowly. There's not it's like just a different. We're not driving jet skis right now. This is different.
This is Royal Caribbean.
Ari's on the Titanic right now.
What?
30 employees. That's insane. That's a lot. But you
Yeah.
forget people's names at that size.
Watch out for the icebergs.
Literally, there's yeah, and I'm just like there's so many different aspects of the business now. As I said, like we're gonna launch wholesale, then we're gonna launch all of our services. Like
Yep.
what I'm doing is like I'm using Whatnot to create an even larger business within Whatnot. If that makes sense. Like it's
Right.
like that book, The One Thing. Like live selling is here. It ain't going nowhere. We're like this small. Now I'm gonna use my. I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it. But like I would say, Smart Threads has been a test kitchen for 2 years now, and I know what works, and I have a process in place. And now I'm gonna duplicate it and help others win.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, we better close this thing down. Again, thank you to everybody who tunes in. And if you made it all the way through this hour and 13-minute episode, you're a rock star. Pat yourself on the back. Please reach out, send us a message, ask us any questions that you want. We're going to be running this part 2 next time, and we'd love to feature your question on our questions portion or in our rapid fire portion. If you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to our channel. It really helps us continue to bring you guys awesome content. We really appreciate you being here, and we will see you next week. Peace.